One of the outcomes from the CAA's recent review of offshore helicopter safety is that the use of a Category A emergency breathing system, EBS, will be mandatory for passengers from the 1st of January 2015. Category A refers to a set of specific minimum performance requirements for EBS. The current hybrid rebreather system, Air Pocket Plus, carried in the lap jacket, does not meet the Category A requirements as it can take too long to deploy. Therefore, a new EBS system is being introduced that meets the requirements of Category A. This system is called PSTAS, which stands for Passenger Short-Term Air Supply System. PSTAS is a compressed air design of EBS that has been integrated into a newly developed life jacket, the Mark 50 Helicopter Passenger Flight Jacket. Emergency breathing systems fall into three generic design types: rebreathers, hybrid rebreathers, compressed air systems. A rebreather system allows the user to rebreathe air from their lungs using a counterlung. The user must be able to take a deep breath of air before submersion. The buildup of carbon dioxide and depletion of oxygen limits rebreathing time. Users may experience some breathing resistance when exhaling into the counterlung. A hybrid rebreather is similar to a rebreather, but incorporates a small cylinder of compressed air containing the equivalent of a lungful of air that is automatically released into the counterlung on submersion. This provides the user with air to breathe even if they have not had time to take a deep breath before submersion. The user should be able to breathe for longer than with a rebreather, and breathing can be easier, as the user does not have to inflate the counterlung against water pressure. Compressed air EBS, or CAEBS, supply air on demand from a gas cylinder, so breathing resistance is low, and the user does not have to take a deep breath before use. Compressed air EBS are designed to be deployed underwater if need be, and include a means to purge any water that may have entered the mouthpiece during deployment. Compressed air EBS can be used at greater depths than a rebreather. Compressed air EBS use is limited by the amount of air in the gas cylinder. The conditions of use and the response of individual users will affect how long the air supply will last. Category A EBS have the following advantages. Full deployment can be carried out in less than 12 seconds. They can be deployed underwater. Category A EBS also have the following characteristics. The mouthpiece can be deployed single-handed. There is minimal dead space in the mouthpiece to trap water. The ability to expel any water that might be trapped in the mouthpiece. They could be used when the wearer is active, upside down, and in a cold water environment. These are the components of the PSTAS EBS. A 0.4-litre air cylinder that will normally be charged with compressed breathable air to 232 bar. The air cylinder is attached to a valve unit that has a charging port on one side, a pressure indicator on the other side, an on-off ratchet knob at the front to allow air to flow to the mouthpiece, a first-stage pressure reduction unit at the top with a green telltale indicator pin. A yellow articulated hose connects the air cylinder to the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece has an integral second-stage on-demand valve and a purge button that may be used to expel any residual water trapped in the mouthpiece during deployment. The mouthpiece also has an integral nose clip. The Servitec Mark 50 helicopter passenger flight jacket has the PSTAS EBS integrated into the jacket on the right-hand side. It has twin chambers providing 275 Newton of buoyancy and is manually inflated. Inflation of either chamber will achieve the full level of performance and buoyancy. The second chamber provides redundancy and can be used as a backup. The inflation toggles are at the bottom of each stole. The unit will be provided ready for use. Carry out these PSTAS EBS checks before donning the jacket, as you may not be able to check the pressure gauge and indicator pin once the jacket is donned. The following checks should be performed to confirm that sufficient air will be available for use in an emergency and that air is flowing to the mouthpiece for use on demand. Reading the pressure gauge. The pressure gauge has markings from 0 to 350 bar. 1 bar is about equal to atmospheric pressure. There are numerals at the 100, 200, 300 and 350 bar positions on the gauge. The white pointer indicates the air pressure in the cylinder. If the pointer is indicating a pressure of 200 bar or more, then the unit is safe to use. If the pointer is indicating a pressure lower than 200, then the unit should not be used. The telltale indicator pin. Check that the green telltale status indicator pin is fully exposed. When the supply valve is fully open, the indicator pin will pop out, and if viewed from the side, will be level with the top of the red indicator body. If the pin is not level, the unit should not be used. The ratchet knob. Check that the on-off ratchet knob is turned fully anti-clockwise. Check that the PSTAS hose is secured to the jacket by the 3 Velcro fasteners. Unclip the crotch strap and fully open the front zip. Put your right arm through first and put the jacket on like a waistcoat. Check that the waist belt is not twisted. Connect the front zip at the bottom and fully zip up the jacket. The adjuster on the left-hand side can be tilted and pulled forwards to loosen the waist belt. Tighten the waist belt by pulling rearwards. Tuck in any loose belt. Get someone to help, if possible. Pull the crotch strap up between your legs. It can be lengthened if necessary. Fasten the crotch strap clip and tighten by pulling down on the loose end. Wind up and secure any loose strap. Check that the mouthpiece is secured in its retaining cup. When strapping into your harness, ensure that the shoulder straps do not cover or obstruct any parts of the PSTAS that may hinder its deployment. To deploy the PSTAS, grasp the mouthpiece with your thumb and forefinger on the nose clip, and then pull the mouthpiece out of its retaining cup and fully away from your body to release the Velcro retaining bands. If possible, prior to deployment, you should take a single deep breath. Put on the nose clip first, and then put in the mouthpiece in a single action. Form a good seal around the mouthpiece with your lips, and hold the mouthpiece lightly with your teeth. The PSTAS supplies air on demand, so simply breathe in and out naturally and air will be provided. Try to breathe normally. PSTAS is designed in such a way that it can either be deployed underwater or on the water's surface immediately before submersion. During a ditching, after landing on water, You should immediately locate your harness release buckle with one hand and the direction of your nearest exit with the other hand. The PSTAS should only be deployed on the water surface if you think that you are in imminent danger of being submerged or the helicopter is starting to capsize. The PSTAS should be deployed using your buckle hand and not the hand you may be using to locate the direction of your nearest exit. When you deploy the EBS and start breathing through the mouthpiece, you begin depleting the contents of the cylinder. Since the cylinder contains a finite amount of air, if you deploy the EBS too early, you will be actively reducing the amount of air available to assist your escape. If the water level in the cabin is rising steadily, or the water has reached your waist, pull the EBS mouthpiece out of its retaining cup and hold it ready for use. Just before your head goes underwater, put on the nose clip and put in the mouthpiece. Deploying at this time allows you to deploy the mouthpiece dry, thereby reducing the possibility of trapped water in the mouthpiece and the need to purge it. If possible, prior to deployment, you should take a single deep breath. This provides a number of benefits. The breath in your lungs will give you more time to deploy the EBS when underwater. The breath can be used to purge any water that may be trapped in your mouth or in the mouthpiece, rather than use the purge button. The breath may extend your escape time by delaying the need to call on the cylinder's air supply. Although taking a deep breath before deployment is desirable, PSTAS can still be deployed if you do not have time to take a breath, as air is supplied to you on demand. If you have taken a breath before submersion, exhale it to purge the mouthpiece of any water. If you haven't taken a breath, you can purge any water using the purge button. Press the purge button at the front of the mouthpiece firmly, and a burst of air will force any water out of the mouthpiece. The purge button should be used sparingly, as overuse can quickly deplete the air cylinder. If for any reason the mouthpiece becomes dislodged, it can be retrieved as follows. You should be able to locate the hose where it is attached to the first stage reducer. Put your hand around the hose and slide it down the hose until the mouthpiece is located. You can then place it back in your mouth and purge it if necessary, as previously described. The PSTAS EBS provides air on demand, so as long as you keep breathing at a normal rate, you should have sufficient air to make your escape. Once the cabin has filled with water or the aircraft has finished rolling over, release your harness and escape through your nearest emergency exit. If, for whatever reason, you do run out of air, it won't be a sudden break in the air supply. You will feel over the course of several breaths that it is getting harder to pull in air. During your ascent to the surface, if you run out of air, keep the mouthpiece in and breathe out steadily through the mouthpiece. You will get the chance to experience this as part of your dry training exercises. After escaping from the helicopter, once you reach the water surface, you will need to inflate your life jacket. The life jacket should never be inflated while inside the aircraft. Before inflating, first remove the EBS mouthpiece and nose clip. The life jacket can be inflated by pulling either of the red mushroom toggles. Each toggle is connected to an individual CO2 cylinder capable of fully inflating the jacket. Should both cylinders be activated, then the jacket will vent any excess pressure. If the jacket fails to inflate, it can be inflated using either of the two oral inflation tubes after the jacket pouch has been opened manually. There are flaps on each side of the cover, protecting the easy open zip teeth. Pull open the flap and use your fingers to open the zip all the way around the jacket. Open up the buoyancy chambers and locate one of the oral inflation tubes. To remove excess pressure, take off the cap, invert it, and insert the cap end or a finger into the oral inflation tube. The sea light and strobe will activate automatically. The PLB will also activate after 40 seconds submersion in water. There is a whistle attached to the front oral inflation tube. A buddy line fitted with a toggle is attached to the bottom of the right-hand stole. The spray hood can be deployed by pulling the two red tapes positioned over the shoulders of the inflated life jacket. Pull the spray hood up and over your head and secure in place using the Velcro underneath the stoles. Compressed air systems offer very little resistance to breathing. Breathing underwater using PSTAS should be easier than with a hybrid rebreather system. When you are first exposed to cold water, the cold may make you gasp, and you may then find it difficult to control your breathing. Try to stay calm. The effects of this cold shock response will wear off. If you experience coughing, do not remove the EBS from your mouth. Cough through the mouthpiece. Once underwater and breathing from the EBS, do not remove the mouthpiece. If the mouthpiece is dislodged, retrieve it and redeploy as quickly as possible. Frequent use of the purge button will deplete the cylinder and reduce the amount of air available to you during actual use. Do not press the purge button unless you need to during an emergency deployment. When using a compressed air device underwater, it is important to never hold your breath when ascending to the surface. Any air taken into your lungs at depth will expand as you ascend. This expansion causes your lungs to overexpand and possibly cause some injury if you breath hold. During ascent, you should continue to breathe normally. Because of the finite supply of air, there is the possibility of running out of air should you fail to escape within a certain amount of time. If this happens, keep the mouthpiece in place and very gently blow out during ascent to the water surface. It is important that you wear the correct size of survival suit. This will ensure that the seals perform correctly and that you are not too buoyant if you have to make an underwater escape. It will also allow additional items such as the life jacket to fit correctly and perform correctly when required. A personal locator beacon, PLB, will be integrated into the MK50 flight jacket. Further details of the PLB fitted to your flight jacket will be provided in the helicopter pre-flight safety briefing.